Hi and welcome. This is Sandeep Unnithan from India Today magazine, and I'm honored to be speaking to Captain Sequeira from the bridge of the INS Kochi. Welcome, sir.
Hi, Sandeep, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. And the events of Cyclone Tauktae have been over a week old now, but the memories of that incredible rescue that you pulled off are still fresh in our minds. Indeed, the hundreds of people that you rescued that day. Could you recount to us the events of the 17th of May? How did this whole thing begin?
Sure. So, like you're aware, and I'm sure you was aware, 17th was the day that we had the cyclone passing west of Mumbai. Uh, West Naval Command here in Mumbai was monitoring the cyclone very carefully, and we were making our own preparations to keep our ship safe. That's what we normally do when you have rough weather. And 17 started with our ships being protecting themselves against passing the cyclone and intense winds and rains that were lashing Mumbai harbor at that point. Somewhere around 7:30 or 8, we had some initial inputs that we may have to sail. The situation was getting worse, and the command was foreseeing possible situations or incidents where the Navy might be called into help. We had done that. We acted on their orders, and in another hour or two, we were told that we were being considered for a deployment. We finally got our orders at about 10:30. I imagine that's when the Navy must have got some request from the civil authorities, and by 11:30, I had casted off from Mumbai. Uh, I was being the ready ship and the outermost was the first to move out. Um, of course, there were very challenging conditions for us then to manage the cast off and leave harbor. Uh, Winds were about 70, 80 kilometers an hour. It was intense rain, almost blinding. You couldn't stand outside. I couldn't stand where I'm standing now, but we had to do it.
You're standing on the
Because
bridge right now. You're standing on the
I'm
bridge.
standing on the bridge wing.
Right.
Yes, and we cast off from the bridge top. Uh, I remember standing with my navigator taking shelter behind the radar to see ahead because the intensity of the rain on our face was that bad. We just keep our eyes open. But it was interesting to say the least. Uh, the tugs came in, they gave us that little support. The engine responded beautifully, and we managed to pull out of harbor. Navigating out of course, was a challenge considering there was no visibility. So essentially, what we did was blind piloted using radars to keep track of what is around us, and those sort of navigate. It is a little tricky because radars can also miss small objects in intense weather. So we doubled our lookouts. Whatever window we could see through, we were out at it, and we left harbor under those circumstances.
This would be Sea
As we
State 7 or Sea State 8. What would you call it at that time?
uh, Inside harbor, it was still not that bad. It would have it Of course the ship was getting pitched around a bit, but as we left harbor and as soon as you leave, it's about 10, 12 miles out. As soon as you come out into open waters, well, that's when it really hit. So we were then already in sea state 7 to 8. Winds had picked up. They had gone up further to 15 knots. It's about 100 kilometers an hour, uh, mainly from the south. And swell was pretty high, almost 9 to 10 meters. So I had waves breaking over my forecastle and some of them swamping my bridge as well. So we were getting washed with water. We had of course prepared as we were moving out for this weather. We were heading to a cyclone at the end of the day. So we had to batten down, keep everybody off the deck, get them inside. The ship did get subjected to quite a bit of motion, violent motion. And as we headed out, there was a fair amount of tossing and turning, as one would expect in such sea conditions. Uh,
Captain Sequeira, could you tell our viewers, for someone who's not acquainted with a Kolkata class destroyer, which is the Navy's largest principal surface combatant, could you tell us a bit about of your ship? I mean, how big it is really and how powerful it is as a destroyer?
uh, like you said, these are the biggest combatants that the Indian Navy operates. This is about 8,000 tons in displacement, which is about 165 meters in length. And we have a crew generally of about 250 plus people and 40 plus officers. It's armed with the latest of weapons and sensors, the latest technology that you can think of. It's all fitted on these ships. It gives us that combat power that the Navy wields in times of necessity. Uh, in these conditions, ship less than ours usually get tossed around. Even 7,500 tons isn't really that much when you consider you're pitching it against a cyclone. But this is still significant displacement. Notwithstanding, the cyclone was so powerful that it kept us rolling about 30 or 40 degrees either side. Uh, the forecastle called part of the ship was going into the water and coming out. So we had the stern coming up at one end, the forecastle going in another end. So this sort of motion, uh, port to starboard, left to right, if you call it, forward and back, in which you have to stand on the ship. At that point, it becomes difficult for those who are young, just joined, not very experienced. But at some point, it became difficult for almost anybody to stand up straight. Uh, but we had to manage that. Uh, we had to sort of negotiate the sea, uh, take a course that didn't beat us back that much. The tides were really strong because of the cyclone. We were, in fact, not making good the speed we intended to make good. It was setting us back about 30%. That was the effect of the set at that point.